Motormouth Jenkins here, welcoming you to our brand new YouTube channel. Hope that you'll come back and see every segment each and every week, and I will share preventative maintenance tips and regularly scheduled maintenance tips for your car. So whether you know a little bit about your car or absolutely nothing, this is the channel just for you, where I share over 35 years of experience as a qualified and licensed service technician with truck and coach, light truck and passenger vehicles. Come back and visit us and tell your friends, and we'll see you each and every week right here in the Car Connection Workshop on YouTube. Niall Motormouth Jenkins here. Hey, thanks for stopping by the Car Connection Workshop. We've got some interesting stuff for you today, and if it's your first time here in the Car Connection Workshop, well, you're probably never going to be the same. You might want to get some therapy or some treatment set up ahead of time, because sometimes weird stuff happens here in the Car Connection Workshop. Well, today we're working on Mr. Green Jeans again, and he's showing a little skin. Door skin, that is. Come on, you guys. That's right. I know you went there. Door skin. Yep, Mr. Green Jeans is our 67 Chevy C10 fleet side pickup from Georgia. And he was born green. You ever wonder whatever happened to Kermit? I know he said one time, it's not easy being green. Sorry, Mr. Green Jeans. Is it easy being Mr. Green Jeans? Well, he has a white top, white bumper, and white rear bumper, and that's how he was born. And he's one of the vehicles that's been tucked away from I had a big collection at one time, and then when I had to say, you know what, you can't have them all, just some. And it's easier when you're collecting Hot Wheels stuff. They're smaller. You can have more. But when they're bigger, you can't. So I whittled it down to like 6, Mr. Green Jeans being one of those, and he's been tucked away since 1996. So we're getting him running. His engine's all back together. Everything up top is in pretty good shape, and you'll get to see that. But we're finishing off his brakes because we want him to have 4-wheel brakes, equal braking. So I'm going to show you this side, which I'm wrapping up and finishing up. Everything is on, but we have a problem. Houston, we have a problem. Now zoom in here for a second. There's something on these brakes that is not quite correct. I'm just showing you. What do you think it is? I knew you'd get it. It's this. No, it's not this. It's this. And it's this. Now, if you come in from the side a little bit, you're going to see something kind of hokey, that here's where the brake shoes end, where my thumb is, and the cap is sticking beyond the brake shoes. And on the other side, we got the same thing going on. Look, there's the brake shoes, and my finger is underneath that cap. Well, that's not correct. One of these things doesn't belong here. One of these things isn't right. So in this case, this is taking the parts right out of the package. The spring, I only ordered what I call a partial hold down kit for the shoes, because the hardware is in such great shape. I just acid bathed it and painted everything up, and it looks like new, and it works like new, and the springs aren't corroded and apart. So when you see a spring that's tight together, the coils are tight together, that spring is still healthy. But when the spring is relaxed, if there's spaces like this, it's no good. So in this case, all I needed was a partial hold down kit. So that was pins, washers, caps, springs, and these little rods, the little pins. So let me show you what's going on there. So I wanted you to see that, because this is what would happen is, if I put this brake drum on, these two caps are going to be scraping the inside of the drum. Not a good idea. It'll play some kind of music for you that you probably won't like. It won't be a top 20 or something. But so we're going to take this off. This is a neat tool. So instead of trying to do this with a pair of pliers, I've done it, but these tools are really cool. They grab that cap and they have teeth on, and you can just push and turn all at the same time with one hand, and that is so cool. And they come in different sizes because there are different caps. There's another one that's smaller than this, and then another one that's smaller than that. So I'm going to hold this because it's going to want to launch at you or take me out and hit me in the forehead. Ouch! That's going to leave a mark. Okay, so here's what we got. There's one pin. Now, I want to show you something. Let me show you something. Brake shoes, when we're ordering brake shoes, we need to know two things. First, we need to know how deep are the shoes. Well, if we get the camera on that, you'll see we have 2-inch shoes. How can we verify that even more? As we go inside the brake drum, like this, and it's a 2-inch surface. So the brake shoe material on this truck is 2 inches wide. Now that pin, let's take a look at that. I'm doing it one-handed, and I'm okay with that. Okay, let's take a look at this pin. So what we want is we want a pin that is not any longer than 2 inches. Otherwise, guess what? You got this going on. It's sticking out beyond. So what do we got here? Well, there's 2 1/4. It's almost 2.5 inches tall, wouldn't you say? 2.5. Well, the shoes are 2-inch. So how did I get a hold down kit with the wrong pins? These pins would be for a shoe that is at least 2.5, which would bring this cap inside this edge here, inside that edge, because that's where it needs to be. It needs to be tucked in. So watch what happens here. I went to my handy dandy cabinet of brake parts, and here's what I found. That is the pin that we really need. And how do I know that for sure? Well, I know that the shoes are 2-inch. And here's the pin, one of the pins that I took out. Do you see what I see? One of these things doesn't belong here. One of these things just isn't right. So that's the pin we need. So what I do when I put these on is I grab a little bit of grease and I put it around the head of the pin. And the reason behind that is because they rust off. The head rusts off and the pin lets go, and then the brake shoes go bazinga inside the drum, and it gets ugly fast. So if you put a little grease on those, you will be a happy camper. So watch what happens now when I make correction here. Don't drop that washer. I don't have arms that long. Okay, we're going to get that on there. Then you get your thumb on there somehow. Then you get your little toolus delectabus. And you hang on for dear life. And you get this lined up to the arrow. Come on, help me. Help me, Spock! It's a little tricky. You'll get used to it. You got to get that arrow lined up and balance this. And then you can just push it down. Get it in there, turn it, and you're locked. We are locked. We're locked. So you want to make sure, see how that almost creates an X in there? You want to make sure that arrow is into the recess and you see these 2 little gaps there. So that's pretty. Now, do you see where that cap is now? It's behind the shoe, not sticking out of the shoe, so that it's going to play some kind of funky song, probably backwards. It says something nasty. So get rid of that. This we can use for another job when the brake shoes are bigger. So I have another one here, the 2-inch size. So I'm going to get over here and release the weasel. And make sure, don't just release it, because you'll take this spring and cap right in the forehead most of the time. So that sounded like a B minor. Anyways, take that out, pop it out. Here it comes. That's where that belongs. Not on this job. Scoff a little more grease from inside the hub here. You don't have to go crazy. Nobody will know, just us. And we'll get this in there. Pop that through. Get our topper. This side's easier because the spring, the hold down spring is shorter, and you can get your thumbage on there. And then you just gotta find your arrow. Find the arrow. And it's all in how you hold your tongue. That's what an old guy told me. And there we go, first shot, boom. So now you see that? This is the shorter spring, and it's tucked in where it should be. So now, whatever song that was, we're not gonna play it backwards, because I've heard creepy stuff about that. Yeah, we're not playing it backwards, okay? So forget it. Let's see what it says. Probably says, eat stale donuts. No, we don't. Not here. All right, so now we're in good shape. We're going to put the drum on. And did we talk about this? We did not talk about this. This is called, now I don't even know if you can get these anymore. I've had it a long time. And it's what I was trained on when I was an apprentice. I am a 310S and a 310T licensed tech, believe it or not. And you slide, this is inside calipers, outside calipers. So if we want a good idea where our brake adjustment should be, you can use this to get them close. And then when you're done, and you got your drum on and your bearing preload all taken care of, so you just lay this in there. Don't go squeezing it out. You just want to lightly drag it and then lock it. And then you'll hear it lightly scratching. Now we flip it over, and it'll tell us kind of where we are. We're a little too tight. So we're going to back some off. So how do we do that? Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. We pull this armature out. And this way, when you hear it go this, like this, click, you're putting some tension on there. So it's ratcheting up. Hear it? We want to go the other way. So you turn it backwards. So we're going to take some adjustment off, because I'd rather not fight to get the brake drum on, and then I'll show you how we're going to tweak that up after, and we'll put some final adjustment on. But I won't readjust until after we bleed the brakes on this truck. And then what happens once we bleed the brakes, because we've changed wheel cylinders, we've done the hardware, we've done this grease seal and repacked the bearings, machined the drums, we've done it all right. So what we have to do is what we call set the shoes. And that is important. If you would do the adjustment fully, then you pump the brake pedal, these are going to swing out like this inside the drum, and there's going to be some settling, and that's called seating the shoes to the drum. So we want to do that, then finish our final adjustment so we can get the front wheels braking evenly, so you don't end up with, you hit the brakes and you scoot one way or scoot this way. We don't want that. We want to make sure that the vehicle's going to stop straight. So we're backing that off so that we don't fight to get the drum on. I'm going to take it back a little bit more yet. So again, just pull the arm out. This star wheel can kind of be sharp on your fingies. So I just use the cloth, so, you know, I'm a delicate thing. So some people say, you're kind of delicate, aren't you, mowing around? They go, yeah, come over here and say that. You're saying that from a distance. Come over here. No. Okay, we'll take it back just a little bit more. Then I do a little chukka, and we should be, that's beautiful. I've got a little bit left so that I'm not going to be fighting to get this drum on. So again, we put a little bit of lube on the inside of the grease seal, just a little bit, and make sure you've got some grease on here. And I always grease the spindle as well so the bearings scoot over nice. So here we go. We're coming in for a landing. Look at that. Right in there. In like Flynn. And I don't know what that is, but anyways, it's not part of the project. So just hang on to that. We're going to find our handy dandy bearing here. Oh, it's coming with the washer, so that's okay. We get the washer, we turn it till it lines up. And I like to just give this a little help and just poke it in there first. Then we're going to get our nut, our castellated nut. And put that on there. I'll just hand tighten that. And then we're going to set bearing preload. That's what I'm doing next, is set bearing preload. Very important that you don't go too tight and you're not too loose, because either way you're going to have bearing failure, and it is going to happen quickly. Trust me when I say that. And then I always like to, when I'm finished, I'll put a little bit of wheel bearing grease on each one of these studs and take care of that. So we want the handy dandy red handle pliers, and we'll just put that in there. We'll get ourselves a cotter pin. This is a great kit too. Look at this. You get all these cotter pins in one box. So if you're going somewhere to do a job or whatever, you've got everything you need to button it up. So I like this one. I think that's the one we want pretty much. Yep, that's it. But this is a great kit. You should have this. I'm not promoting them. They don't promote me, but you know what? I like to buy kits, and it just makes the job happier. Okay, so here we go. We're going to put our bearing preload on there. So I'm going to spin this and bring that down just snug. So I'll bring my pliers up here so you can see a little better. So here's what I'm doing. I'm backing this off, I'm spinning it, and then I'm bringing it down. And I'll do it again. I'll spin it a little bit. Now I'm seating the bearings in there. Don't go tight. All I'm doing is, I don't really have a grip on this. I just have my hand on the pliers. So I'm going to back off about a quarter turn, and then I'm going to bring that down. That's all I want. A gentle squeeze on that. You don't need to do this, and don't make it sloppy loose. And now I check it. It's nice. It's nice. So now you go, well, I can't get, Motormouth, I can't get the cotter pin in. Well, here's what you do. If you have to go back a hair bit, just a little, not too much, not too little. And then I always make sure the long ear is facing out, and you'll see in a minute why I do that. 'Cause I'm weird, all right? There, I said it. Okay. Yeah, so here we go. We're going to put that right in there. Should go right in. Hold your tongue the right way. It might just need a hair bit more. It is so close, so I can go just a tiny bit more back to line that hole up. Don't take a hammer. If you got to take a hammer to the cotter pin, you got problems, man. You got trubs. You need treatment. This is going to be our hammer for today. I'm just going to tap that in, and always make sure that the cotter pin is standing to go into the groove. I see guys do this and then the thing is turned this way, and no, make sure that goes right down into that keyway. Then I take, this is my signature, that I've done the job. I do this always the same way. I bend that tab up, and I bend this tab up, and I cut it off. And then I know if I go into a job and I don't see that and somebody's blaming me for it, no, if it's not like that, it wasn't me. Okay? Next, we're going to put this cap on. I'm just going to step away for a minute because I need one more tool. So Francine will sing a very nice song for you, and I'll be back in just a moment. La, 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 yeah. Yeah. Now watch your head on the hoist, because you know why? It hurts right away. Don't ask me how I know that. Guys, you see this thing? Look at it inside. It looks like a stinking woodpecker has been on the outside of it, pecking at it. I have never, ever made a dust cap in my 44 plus years of being in service as a service tech. I have never crushed one of these with a pair of pliers. I have never made it look like some kind of steel-headed woodpecker has been on it, and I've never beat it to death with a hammer. You put it on, you get your rubber hammer, and it's on. Just like that. And I didn't even crush it in or nothing. So guys, no metal hammer. You don't need to take a screwdriver to the edge here and beat the thing on. Line it up, hit it with the rubber hammer, and it's game over, Irene. It's all over but the crying, as they say. Okay, what do we do next? Happy dance. No, not a happy dance. Maybe tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow. But that's how you do the job. Do it right. Look at that. It's just, it's beautiful. It's like music. So we'll show you how we're going to do the final setting on this in just a moment. But I wanted to show you something else. Let me show you something. Okay, there's some goober on that. I use the rubber plugs. Some guys like these metal ones. Where is it? I file it accordingly. I don't like them because it goes in, but it doesn't really seal very well. You see there's still gaps. I don't like it. But your preference, that's what I feel about that. So I like the rubber ones. If you want to put a little grease around there, that's fine. But that, when that goes in, that is nice. I'll sleep like a baby tonight knowing that's in there. So that's how you do that. So we'll do a final adjustment when we're finished, and I'll show you that in another video when we have the passenger side done. When that one's finished and the hub and everything is on, then we'll do a segment on the final adjustment, not the final countdown. I think there was a song somewhere about that. Final countdown? Yeah, no. I think it's final countdown when you get to the donut box on Saturday morning last. It is the final countdown. So when you open the lid, you just get what's left. So don't complain. So there is, if you listen, there is a slight drag. But like I mentioned, when both hubs are on and we're at this stage on the passenger side, and we bleed the brakes, we'll do a segment on properly bleeding the brakes and how you can do it by yourself and be completely successful with it. I have a tool for that that is really neat. And once we have brake pressure, then we can stab the brake pedal, get these shoes to seat properly, so we'll get them to flex out. I've left enough room so they can flex, return. Then we will apply the final adjustment. So that's all I got for this one. I hope you got a few takeaways, a couple of goodies and a tidbit and a lock washer and maybe one of these things that is this like way too big. Who does that? Anyways, we're looking for names right now. Yeah, we got something special for that person. So that's how you do a brake job. Do it well, do it once, and you know what? When we're done with Mr. Green Jeans, we won't be messing with his brakes for a long time. We just have to keep everything maintained. And you know what? These old rigs, it's going to be nice to get them back on the road so that we can enjoy them and we can let the kids get in there at some of the events, have their pictures taken, and enjoy Mr. Green Jeans. So till the next time, like, share, follow, subscribe, and ring that notification bell at our YouTube channel, Niall Jenkins. It's free. It won't cost you anything. You would help us out a great deal. So keep it under 100. Put the coffee on, because why? We're coming to your house.